hear these terms like disruptors and disruptive marketing or scroll stopping content and rah, 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 rah. The bottom line is that all marketing is supposed to be,
touring the house on a fucking camel. I don't care what it is. Think of very clever ways to stand out and make people remember your brand, and you'll be on to a winner.
Before we begin the podcast, I have one small favor to ask. If you could hit the subscribe button so that we could reach more real estate agents every single week. Thank you. Let's begin. Lewis, you are known for having some interesting, or as you put it, disruptive marketing tactics. Now, my audience is primarily real estate agents. And due to the nature of that market, the marketing has gotten quite stale. Like, I routinely get DMs. If you were a real estate agent, how would you go about disrupting the market? Would you say auction off your butt for a tattoo or fly across the world for AirPods?
Wow, that's a big question. What would I say to them? I mean, if it is, as you say, as stale as you believe it to be, then really it's a no-brainer, right? If I had a real estate business in any realm, whether I was selling property, whether I was doing developments, and we've worked with some architects in the past, so I had a bit of an insight into this space. I would say I would be looking at what everyone's doing, and I'd be trying to do something a little bit different. The bottom line of marketing at its crux is it's supposed to be disruptive. You hear these terms like disruptors and disruptive marketing or scroll stopping content and rah, 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 rah. The bottom line is that all marketing is supposed to be that. I use the word disruptive marketing, but really it's just marketing. It's good marketing. It's not being a lazy bastard, It's looking at what my competitors are doing and going, well, how can I beat them? Looking at what's working in an industry and going, oh, that's quite interesting. I might try and apply that to my business. And in a sense, that is disruptive. That is innovative. But really, I think what I tend to do is just normal marketing, but I had to find a way to try and emphasize that it was different. So I started honing in on the word disruptive. So my advice to anyone who has a business in the real estate space or in property, etc., will be look at your competition, look at the industry, look at what everyone's doing and try and be a little bit different. And if you can pull that off in a way that emphasizes your brand and personality and voice and makes people feel some kind of way about you, you're probably going to be very successful with whatever it is that you're doing. So that's kind of an end question, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true. So my job right now is SEO, so search engine optimization. And the only reason I have it is because no one in the US was doing SEO for real estate agents. It's the exact opposite of what the market is doing. And so that's a perfect thing, because now when I do everything, we get like 1,000% ROAS. Like, it's absurd. Whereas like normal things, you'll probably get like 500%. So we're doubling that, right? Like, so there's a big line if you do something that no one else is doing. You said you've worked with a lot of real estate, like architects, that sort of stuff. What's been the best campaign you've gotten out of them, or you've seen?
Well, yeah. So I said what we've worked with an architect. We work with a couple of construction-based businesses that dance around in the property space. Never really not really a real estate business. We've not had one come to us and say, "Hey, look, we sell property. What should we do?" However, it's interesting. That it's actually one thing that keeps popping up right now on my feed, and quite a lot of my social media posts that are very innovative and exciting tend to be real estate brokers and developers trying to market themselves in a unique way. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of the videos I'm seeing aren't actually what you would want them to do. They're just doing the same shit that Gen Z are doing on TikTok, and they're commenting and liking and it's getting views, but actually there's no real value there. But what was interesting to me is that they're all trying to find a way to stand out. I'll give you a quick example. We worked with one in Dubai. Obviously, I don't even know much about Dubai. Real estate is, you're either a real estate broker or you work on an Emirates airline as an air hostess. They're the two main jobs there, right? So everyone is a real estate broker. Obviously, in Dubai, the idea is this rich, pretentious lifestyle that they're all trying to portray. So a lot of the social content was around that. And then I think about 2 or 3 years ago, people started to go, well, we can really harness the power of social to promote what we're selling, the products we're trying to sell to the types of people we're trying to sell to. So there's this real battle over there. If you want to see some good examples of real estate social content, look at what the people over there do, because there's so many of them. They have to compete at a high level, which means they spend a lot of time with the content. It means they spend a lot of time thinking about the ideas, and they try and promote the properties in unique ways. So actually, in terms of examples of things that we've seen, I mean, there's a few. A bit my advice to them there, the takeaway would be actually look at a place where it's a saturated market, because they're the ones that really have to push to stand out, and then you'll see some great examples, and you can apply that to your own market in your own town, city, or whatnot. What was the other question? Sorry, you mentioned at the beginning.
I completely forgot. Like where
I think you said examples, but they're the two sort of realms we've done in architecture, and we have worked with a real estate firm in Dubai, but it's real dog eat dog there.
Real estate agents, are you struggling to capture leads? If you're struggling to capture leads through your website, we can help. We've created a step-by-step guide on how to use our lead capture engine. It's the system we've used on all of our real estate websites to capture sellers, including Cade Covey, who earned an extra $80,000 in just 3 months by working with us. Are you ready to set up your lead capture engine? Visit dmrmedia.org/#gift to learn more about how we can get warm leads like a pro. Yeah. I think in terms of like examples, kind of back to that, one of the ones that I've seen that's relatively decent is Illinois, Chicago area. So one of the bigger cities in the US. And he has himself coined as the robed realtor. Mm-hmm. And so his entire shtick is that he walks around in a robe. Like, you're not going to forget a realtor that's just walking around in a robe. Mm-hmm. And then the best ones that seem to really work is when he goes, quote, bare it all because the backyard is private. So he just strips off the robe and blurs it. Mm. And like, you're not going to forget that if you're looking for real estate. And so it's things like that that really like turn it up a notch. Like, you have to find little things like that. Like, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think you're obviously you're specifically in the real estate market. We work with different firms, but all that tells me is the person that you're speaking about is trying to find a way to promote their business in a way that stands out, is unique, and is in line with his brand and tone, what he wants to be known for. And that's pretty much it, right? I always say to my customers and clients, when people engage and interact with your brand, how do they feel about what it is that you do, and like, what's the emotion, what's the connection, what's the emotional attachment to your brand? Because if the answer is nothing, you're not doing anything correct. Now, just to put it into perspective, any one of the people that listen to your podcast, if you ask them where they go shopping, where do you go to buy your fruit and veg and meals for the week, they'll all probably say the place that they like. In the UK, it's Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrison's, whatever. People are very loyal to those particular brands. They go to the same place week in, week out without fail. They go somewhere different, it feels weird, it feels off, it feels different. And it's because they've just got this emotional bond and a connection with that brand. It stands for what they believe, and they like how it runs, and the products and whatnot, they're all the same. Doesn't matter where you go, they're all pretty much the same. They all pretty much cost the same. So people connect with the brand, and they feel like, oh, I shop at Tesco's, I shop at Sainsbury's, I shop at Morrison's, and it's just automatic. They don't like going anywhere else, and it's just ingrained in them. You kind of want the same thing for something like this, because it's a product where, realistically, if I was going to sell a property, I would just Google real estate agent near me, right? And I'd probably just ring through a few of them, arrange some meetings, and that's it. So SEO is very, very good for that. But past that point, if I wanted to stand out in an industry which was like that, where really I didn't really give a shit where I was going, I don't really know a really cool realtor that I would ring to sell a property. I don't care. I just ring whoever. It's like if my car breaks down, I'm going to ring the nearest garage. However, if a real estate agent was like that guy, was standing out constantly on social media, was promoting their brand in a unique way, was running ads like that, was putting billboards up like that, and I'm going to remember that guy's face. I'm going to remember his name. I'm probably going to go, yeah, if I ever going to sell a house, that's the person I ring. So it's a bit more of a long-term goal, right? You're going to be creating all this content, putting yourself out there in a unique way, trying to get people to buy into it on an emotional level, watch your content almost automatically, like as if you're going shopping to the same place. You like that one person, and then when it comes to it, you're only going to ring that one brand, that one company, that one guy, because you see them all the time. They're aligned with your core values, and they're kind of the only thing you can think of, rather than going to Google. And there's a side benefit to doing that as well, is the fact that if you sell to someone, chances are if they engage with your brand and you've got this really strong personality, this really strong content, this tone of voice, this way of working, then the customers are going to recommend you to their friends. And when someone says, anyone know a real estate agent near me? Well, they're going to recommend you because there's something that really stands out about you. Now, not a similar industry, but a similar mindset is, we've got a company that was in waste management. Waste management is when you need a skip to get rid of
all the crap in your house when you're doing a renovation, you just sort of Google local skip company. Well, we decided to take one of these skip companies, give them a really strong brand vibe, really funny content, really connect with the owners of the business, show the family, show their services, in a very engaging, very fun, very exciting way. And everyone in the area, they were almost locally famous. Everyone in the area knows who they are. So what happened was, whether I needed a skip or I didn't, I remember them. So when I come to needing one, I ring them. If someone else goes, who should I ring? They recommend them, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of the long game, I think, with content and brand and voice.
I mean, fundamentally, it just comes down to the branding there when you're doing things, because it's who do you remember, and the brand is what you remember and associate with the person.
I think most people... Sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
I was going to say most people just need to understand that no one cares about the product as much as they do. So you've got to find a way to make people give a shit about what you sell. You've got to find a way to make people remember who you are. You've got to find a way to stand out in a very, very busy market. And you've got to stop people from just going on Google and ringing the nearest place because they want to work with you. They have to work with you. They've seen you 1,000 times. So what is it you can do to make them connect with you on that level?
And it's what do you do to stand out, right? Realistically, there's only a couple ways that you can stand out. You can stand out on giving away information, being kind of like the friendly guy. You can stand out by being funny. And you can stand out by being the expert or like number one in the field. And can you think of any other ways that people can stand out aside from those three?
I don't even know if being number one in the field is enough, because who cares?
True.
Like, everyone says they're an award-winning this, that, and the other. Everyone says they're number one. So how it's not a differentiator, is it? The general customer's not going to know. Through funny content is great. Through exciting content, engaging branding, through connecting with people in unique ways. So, give you an example. If I was a real estate agent and everyone's attending the property show every year and they go to this exhibition, then I know. Let's just say it's a property exhibition every year, and people go. It's probably a bad example of that. Let's take a wedding company, right, where we do weddings now. Every year, people go to a wedding fair, and they have these exhibitions, and people who are getting married go there. They get their dress, their suit, their car, whatever, in the same space. So if I know that all my target audience are going to be in one location, I know how all my competitors are going to be laid out, what they're going to be doing, and how they're going to be trying to grab attention. I'm going to go there with a completely different mindset. I'm going to go, right, well, I'm going to approach this from a different... I'm going to make loads of noise outside. We're going to have an activation that grabs attention outside. We're going to follow that activation up inside. We're going to have the stand is going to be themed around a circus. I'm going to have a lion and a fucking tiger in a cage. I don't know, right? A bear, a lion tamer, a girl with a hoop of fire. Do you know why? Because I know that no one else is going to do that. So I'm going to market myself in a unique way, in a real life experience and an activation. Now, that was a stupid idea. I don't agree with lions and cages and tigers and tamers. But the point I'm trying to get across is it has to really stand out and be different from a customer point of view. So if I was going to do a real life, in this case with a real estate agent, maybe every time I interact with a customer on site or I turn up, I have a certain type of vehicle that really stands out, or I have a certain way of greeting them that is completely unique, or I surprise them throughout with something. There's like a surprise and delight element, maybe, I don't fucking know, like maybe there's a caricaturist there and he does a caricature of them. I don't care what it is, but if there's an opportunity to engage people in real life with a different type of experience, well, that's another way to stand out. Every touch point of your business should say the same thing. Say if my business was going to be known as the most exciting brand in real estate, well, then my content better say that, my website better speak like that, my adverts better portray that, my staff better talk like that. When someone rings the office and I answer the phone, I'm going to go, hey, you have reached the most exciting real estate firm. Well, whatever it's going to be, every touch point has to be aligned with whatever the message is I'm trying to tell people. For my business, it's disruptive marketing. It's about being creative and standing out, which means if you see me in the street, I'm going to be the same person as I am online. I'm going to be making content in the same way that is what happens in real life. My car is fucking garish and is a big truck and you can't miss it. It matches my brand. I'm covered in tattoos. I'll swear. I'll be on stage. My entire brand is based around who I am as a person, because that's what I want to be known for. I shaved before and I get a really sore lip. I shaved for this. But I think it's what do you call it, burning. But yeah, that's what we're talking about, right? Is basic marketing. You said, is there any other way to stand out? Yeah, in real life experience is a way to stand out. Events and activations, things that I can control. Inviting my inviting my potential customers to a golf day, inviting them to go quad biking, just something completely left field. If my brand was going to be exciting, well, that's what I would do. You know, touring the house on a fucking camel. I don't care what it is. Think of very clever ways to stand out and make people remember your brand, and you'll be on to a winner. With real estate, real estate is something you always need. Insurance, you need it. You know, banks, you need them. So the marketing's always pretty shit because people need them. They just ring whichever one's first. So if you start thinking of ways to, like, how would you sell the brand? How would you sell the service? And don't care. No one gives a shit how professional you are and what suit and tie you're in.
I think with that, with creative marketing things, it doesn't even have to be like super like flamboyant out there all the time. It can also be very subtle. So I'll give you a good example. Are you familiar with Bob Knackel?
Nope.
Okay. So he's a commercial real estate broker in New York. And he's super, super big, but he's super, super subtle about it. And the way that he's done it is he's created baseball cards, like cardboard baseball cards, big ones. I think he has small ones as well. But you can get them signed. So he gives them to you. And then the second time you see him, if you have it, he can get it signed. So that's 2 touch points. And he has a bunch of little things like that. So everywhere you go, you think of him. It's not big. It's not like completely out there, but you are always thinking about him. And so it reinforces this brand presence of he's the guy to go to.
I would say if any brand is looking ahead at the future, and the biggest threat to most businesses right now should be a younger, more daring brand entering the market and dominating, right? That you should be scared shitless of that, because if you're not on TikTok creating content on YouTube, if you're not running ads, if you're not doing creative things with customers in real life, if you're not doing little, like that's a nice kitsch, that's a nice novelty. Like it sounds like it's memorable, but you know that sort of stuff's great now. But in 5 years, you're going to be blown out of the water with what comes. I mean, like I could start a company tomorrow and start selling property, and all I need to do is market myself very, very well, and I can steal a lot of the market share from established businesses that have been around for years. Yeah, you might have existing customers, and yes, everyone says word of mouth is the way of is where I get my business from. However, word of mouth is generated through people interacting with your brand and seeing you regularly, and so that can be massively impacted. Your position in the market can be massively impacted by a younger, disruptive, more agile, noisy, creative company who comes on and starts telling their story, starts taking you around BTS with their customers, starts showing amazing content of people buying their first home and what it means to them, and inspiring people, and using that money and put it into events for the communities that they're in and all this sort of stuff. Like, you're just going to be blown out of the water because they're going to be more memorable. Really, what I'm talking about is not rocket science, by the way. The reason I'm just riffing like this is because it's not. It's really simple. You can Google right now how to build a business on marketing digital, and it'll tell you all the things I've just said. The problem is a lot of companies are just too proud to try it.
I think a lot of people get in their old rut of like, this is who I am. I'm not doing anything else. Like I see that a lot. There's a couple insurance agencies near me who are like, we do paper ads. We're too good for that digital stuff. We just do paper ads. And you can see it. You can see it in their revenue. Like, as paper ads decline, you're kind of SOL. So you need to innovate, and then you need to do something exciting on top of the innovation to get ahead of the curve, especially with this like ADHD, lack of attention span, like generation, where like, if I don't find it entertaining in 5 seconds, I'm gone. Like, it just needs to be a good hook. And I think the flamboyant is really, really what gets it. I think that's the right word. I might be wrong there, but
I think just bear in mind the target audience who's going to be buying property now, probably going to be millennials moving through to Gen X. Your boomers have already got their properties set, so I wouldn't worry about appeasing or offending those guys. So, like, if you were targeting millennials and Gen X, like, where do they spend most of their free time? It's on social media. It's documenting stories, sharing their journeys. It's online, you know. And so I love when a business says, you know, oh, you know, we do things our way. We get business word of mouth. And like you said, we have billboards and paper ads and all this sort of stuff that's been around for like 50 years. Because you know they're not going to be around for much longer, because you can't just rest on your laurels of what's always worked, and you can't be too proud to try new things, and you can't, you know, even LinkedIn. Look at LinkedIn. That's always been a professional network. Look at who the most followed people on LinkedIn are. Look at what content they're creating. Look at the fact that it's implemented. They've just integrated Reels into their social media, which means you have to be building a personal brand for your business. Your company page will be dead compared to your personal business page, your personal brand page. They wouldn't be spending all these millions of dollars to integrate all this into a professional platform if they weren't getting themselves ready for the future. And it's because you can't just rest on your laurels. You can't rest on the way it's always been done. You know, you have to really integrate all these different aspects of marketing into your strategy now. Well,
I really think LinkedIn is going to be the big next thing. Like, I'm really going heavy on YouTube and LinkedIn right now. And the reason being is, one, I'm B2B. So LinkedIn is perfect for me. And YouTube, we can be a little bit more targeted. We can kind of get that, like, if people are searching for X, like real estate, you can pop up there. Whereas like Instagram, it dies right away. TikTok, it dies right away. LinkedIn is going to die right away, but you have a more targeted market. And because of the new video feed, you're getting a ton of views. So my impressions skyrocketed as soon as they launched the video feed. I don't know. You don't post a lot of video, do you?
Yeah.
LinkedIn. You do?
Yeah. It's the primary thing I would post. I haven't got time to make videos, but it's what I would post.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I didn't see much lately because I just know you've been busy.
It's Christmas, and I've also been very busy. But yeah, I would recommend posting mainly video on LinkedIn right now.
Okay. What's your LinkedIn strategy?
Mine, whenever I get 5 minutes of peace, I'll post something. To be honest, I haven't got one, and I'd never really give a shit about having a strategy for LinkedIn because no matter what, I know this isn't the right advice because obviously we have clients and we do have strategies for, but for me personally, I hate having something that I have to do regularly. Like if I'll give you an example. I used to gamble all the time. I used to go casino. I used to love playing blackjack. The moment I learned about basic strategy and how to simply count cards, it became no more fun. It became a job and I didn't enjoy it. So I enjoy LinkedIn as long as it's not a job. So for me, I know it's not a great strategy to grow, but I'm not trying to grow. I'm just trying to enjoy using the platform or I won't use it. But for customers, it would be post 5 times a week, mix it between 80% video and 20% text and a couple of images and share the BTS of your brand and your business and your story and why you're doing what you do and keep reiterating that and keep telling that over and over again. Collaborate with other people, join events and stuff like that. Don't force it. Don't be that beggy weirdo who goes to an event and goes, can we take a picture and post it straight away on LinkedIn? Just take it easy, relax, and actually connect with real people in real life, and the rest of it will come naturally. Don't pay some muppet to run it for you because they're just going to write the same shit as they write on everyone else's. Don't get some ghostwriter to write it for you because they're not going to speak from your point of view. I mean, these are all general strategy tips, and it's probably a little bit against what the gurus on LinkedIn say, but I couldn't give 2 flying fucks, to be honest. Yeah.
No, that's fair. Do you have a bone to pick with ghostwriters?
No. I mean, I know people that I do. I'm just saying, if you wanted my honest advice, that's what I would say to someone, because LinkedIn is supposed to be, for me, it's like a personal outlet. It's a place where I can write my actual thoughts and feelings, and I'm going to write them. There's no strategy. I'm not trying to grow. I'm not trying to post 10 times a week and comment on people's, because when you start doing that, it's all disingenuous, right? Like, I get you what I'm trying to sell. I'm trying to sell myself as a person. I'm trying to share my brand, which is why I use LinkedIn. But I'm not trying to the extent that it feels false. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll post if I want to. If I don't want to, I won't. But that's not good advice. If I'm going to tell a client, it would be post, like I said, 5 times a week, do 80-20 split text and video right now. Push that because it's scaling, good quality, good ideas, good content. But for me personally, it's just another one of my channels that I enjoy. If I want to post, I'll post. If I don't, I won't. If I'm busy, I won't. I won't force it.
Yeah. No. I've been playing around with something kind of similar to that. I've been doing, if I think of a post, I write it and then I schedule it for the week after. And then I just have 3 video posts that I just clip from the podcast that I do anyways. So sometimes I'll post 4 times a week. Sometimes I'll post 6 times a week, and it all varies. But then you also get this authentic feel of like, it's not forced.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really hard balance too. I'm assuming you know who Lara Costa is.
Oh yeah, I know her personally.
Yeah. I don't know. I connected with her on LinkedIn. She's interesting.
Yeah.
I would say that Lara does a really, really good job of keeping that personality in it. Because almost all of her posts, there's very, very minimal editing, except for the offhand one a week. They're usually I'm out doing this, doing that. And so I think that keeps the personal feel. And I know you do that a lot as well. what's your, like, are you just going to try to continue to do that, just do that as we go, or are you going to implement structure in the future? I know you kind of said it makes it like a job, but are you planning on implementing structure?
Yeah, no. In terms of like, so Lara, I mean, you got people who watch this. If you see someone like Lara smashing it and getting, thousands of likes and stuff like that, just bear in mind that that's her job. So that's her focus. That's where all the time will be spent. Whereas most people, we can't keep that level up because we have to, we're away with our client meetings or whatever. I mean, she still does it, but her job is that is her job. That's her business. Um, so a lot of people, like a real estate agent, for example, they're going to be out in the field. They're going to be in the office. They're going to be on client calls. It's going to feel like crazy to try and fit in being on social media every single day. And so I don't think you should force it. For me personally, I'm trying to capture stuff behind the scenes. I've got a year's worth of backlog content of stuff I filmed, stuff that's not been edited, that could be posted at any moment. But again, I haven't got the capacity or time to sit there and chop it up. And if I pass it to an editor, they're not going to be able to talk from my point of view. So it doesn't make any sense to that for me to do that. I think in terms of advice for people is don't force it. Just if you see people like who are posting a lot, just bear in mind that that's their business and that they have to do that. If they didn't, they wouldn't be visible and they wouldn't get their clients. So that's a lot of the reason why you see a lot of people who are prevalent posting very regularly, because they really need to be doing that. In terms of structure for myself, I think I have, a content plan, things that I'd love to create. There's things that I've been sat on for over a year, not just content that we film, but ideas that I've got in the pipeline that require a day of filming. I love almost being like a YouTuber, creating content that I find fun. The problem is, if you're scaling a business and you're running it as well, you're going to struggle to find the free time. Maybe next year when I've got someone on full time doing video, and editing, I can do that with them whilst I'm doing my normal day to day stuff. For me, it's capturing stuff as I go and knowing I'm going to post it at some point.
Real estate agents, are you tired of chasing leads? If you're struggling to find quality sellers or feel like marketing takes up too much time, DMR Media can help. We specialize in getting real estate agents high quality leads, ready to buy leads through SEO and pay per lead approach. That means basically no upfront cost and zero risk. You pay when we deliver results. Imagine a steady flow of clients finding you on Google while you focus on closing deals. We've done it for agents like Cade Covey, who earned an extra $80,000 in just 3 months with our system. Take back your time and get results. Visit dmrmedia.org to learn more about how we can make your marketing work for you. Yeah. I wanted to segment, because you've been really, really busy over the past year or so with your business. Talk to me about that. Like, how's that going? What you doing? What's the main focus right now?
We started like in 2019 when I lost my job. We started kind of just to survive. I started the business to survive. I wanted to just pay the bills. We did bits and pieces like digital marketing, SEO, PPC, rah, rah. About 3 years ago, I said, well, if I'm going to keep doing this, what I want to do is focus on more disruptive marketing, unique marketing, guerrilla marketing, stuff that really stands out, the stuff that people remember because I enjoy it. I don't want to do just all the boring bits and pieces. Yes, we'll still do that, but I want to do more stunts, creative content. I want to make stuff, build stuff, break records, that sort of stuff, like break world records and things as content and just have loads of fun. And so that's what we did. So that's what we started focusing on about 3 years ago. Really put a lot of effort into it from like 12 to 18 months ago. And we're seeing the fruits of our labor now. Like the portfolio has been rounded. It shows a lot of different types of things like advertisements. It shows in-person activations. It shows vehicles, assets, horses, babies, goats, donkeys, models, fucking all these different things that are funny, entertaining, engaging. Cowboys, aeroplanes, Tom Cruise lookalikes, Elton John lookalikes, like AirPod adventures to the Middle East. Like all this is fun stuff to me. And as a result, we're seeing brands reach out and say, hey, look, we want to incorporate this. My actual vision for the business is that we're the guys that you call when you already have a marketing director, you already have a marketing team, you've got a brand director, you've got a brand team probably, and everyone's doing the day-to-day stuff because you have to do that, right? You have to run all these different aspects of marketing, and we just get called in to bring crazy ideas,
creative. Like you might say, we want to do an event, but we want this event to stand out like no one's ever seen before. So we're the guys you ring. We come in. We're going to pitch you the ideas. You're going to pick what you want to do. We're going to make it happen, and you're just there on the day to see it through and have a blast, right? And your normal social person gets a social. Your normal PPC person, there's no additional work for anyone else in house. That vision, I wasn't sure if it was going to work, right? Because I was always like, well, if they've got a marketing team, they might not ring us. But as we scale and we are getting those calls coming in, I'm finding that actually the gap that I spotted is a gap and a half. It's one where a business, they don't really have, they have an idea, right? They go, this will be so fun, and then who's going to do it? Oh, I ain't got time. So no one's got any time in the business. Therefore, that idea never comes to life. Well, I don't. Most marketing ideas are crazy, are creative, are last minute, are out there, and actually making that little bit of effort to make it come to life is the bit that makes the business memorable. The brand stand out to their customers. Everyone talks about it. They get all them extra sales, or they get all them newspaper headlines, whatever. So we're facilitating that with the brands, and I love that. They just come to us and go, right, Valentine's Day is coming up. We need a crazy idea that's going to really stand out. Christmas is coming up. We don't want to do normal Santa Claus. Summertime, we want to get cocktails in people's hands, but we want a different way of doing it. And we're like, we're going to fucking fly it by drone, Like, that's the sort of stuff that I enjoy. And so for me, as we grow, move forward and continue scaling, I'm hoping we get many more of those projects, because I didn't realize just how big of a gap it was when I first started doing it.
Yeah, I think they're really, really interesting. That's kind of the Red Bull style of marketing. Is kind of like how I've always thought of it. And I just love seeing those. Are really, really fun. But the problem with those is, how consistent are your clients? Like, do they you do one and then come back, or?
Yeah. So actually, that's what's happened. So I wasn't sure either. Like at first, I was thinking, oh, we'll just be one project, so we might not see him again for a year. But what we're tending to find is, we'll get a client and they say, right, it's summertime, come up with an idea, and then they'll ring us after that and be like, right, Christmas is coming up, we want some of Christmas. Then we're going into Valentine's Day. What about Valentine's, and so on and so forth. So those clients become regular clients, because we do such a good job with them. We get them over and over and over again, and they just constantly want these exciting, unique things to go on top of their pre-existing marketing strategy. And now, obviously, we have retained clients where we just do the normal marketing bits and pieces. We do monthly content, we do scheduling those content out for them, we do the strategy, we come up with ideas. The ideas are what we bring to the table there, though. Like, we're like, hey, we're going to do it windsurfing at the middle of December when it's freezing cold, and we're going to do a Q&A rather than sitting on a fucking desk like every other boring bastard in your industry. That's the sort of stuff we come up with for them. So the ideas still lend themselves nicely to like retained content, retained ad management and stuff like that. Coming up with another thing is regular advertisements. Coming up with ideas for ads, filming them, bringing them to fruition. Those ads go live, and then we start planning and filming the next one. So whilst they are projects, they're regular projects. All these clients come back over and over and over again. So that's how we're growing. It's just a little bit slower than if I was to offer, pick a niche, offer a single service, and become a specialist in that area, which is the blueprint for every agency. I just don't want to do the same as everyone else.
Well, I think that's kind of like, that's your thing. That is your one thing, is being the unique marketing agency. Because I can think of, there's one other guy, like one other agency, I forget their name, in the US that's sort of similar, but they're even more on like the standard marketing agency side. They're not even like the, like, we got it all, like, what you need. You need elephants, you need horses, what you need. Yeah. So like, I think that's your thing, right? At least that's my perspective from the outside.
I think it has become, and I don't know if I wouldn't say I'm the smartest, most genius marketers in the world. There are definitely people better than me, but they cost a lot more money. There are bigger budgets and huge teams. We're doing the same level of marketing that a brand might spend £100,000 on doing, but we're doing it for 20. So we're really scrappy. And I think for me, I don't care about it being perfect. Everything's a learning curve for me. Obviously, I've been doing this for like started when I was 21, I'm 34. So 14 years I've been doing marketing now. It's not like I've been around for a short period. I've been around for quite a while. I know what I'm doing. It works really well. And I really want to enjoy it. But, I don't care if it's perfect. I don't care if every single campaign goes super viral, because that's not the point. And it's never going to happen. It's never realistic either. Any agency that tells you we can always make it go viral, bollocks. Like, you don't know what's going to work. You don't know if your idea is actually going to hit or it's not. You don't know if the timing is right or something's going to go wrong or the news is going to pick up a different story because the Queen just died, like whatever. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. So we can't promise that, but I can promise that we'll always have a great time. The ideas will never be the same. We'll never pitch the same thing twice to anyone. every single time I do something, I have to figure it out. I have to figure out, can you get a horse delivered? Why can't the donkey go upstairs? Oh, we need to get a stunt goat. Where'd you get a goat from? Has anyone got a baby? Can you fly a drone legally over an airport carrying alcohol? You know, that sort of shit. Where can I get a cowboy costume from in the middle of winter in the UK? I need a Canadian actor. I'm based in Manchester. Like, every single thing that we do is always going to be different. It's always going to be brand new. And I love that. So almost every time we come up with a campaign, for me, I'm like fucking day one marketer again. Like, I know what I'm trying to achieve, but I have to learn everything. And that's why I believe it'll never get boring. It'll never get tired. And you can't really copy it either. People can try and replicate the idea of guerrilla marketing, which is fine. But you can't copy the fact that I just like causing chaos. Like, since I was a little boy, I've always come up with the wildest ideas and concepts that have got me in trouble for many, many years. And that's just continued to adulthood. But now I have found a way to apply it to marketing. And people really enjoy it. Our filming our ads are always fucking hilarious because we find it funny. You know, scripting them is crazy. Finding these people is mental. When you sit on a set and you see, like I said, take the donkey going that way, the baby going that way, and the goat going over there, whilst the guy in a mankini with his testicles hanging out over there, and we're all going, "This is a weird day." Like, but it's great. And so for me, marketing should be about that. It should be exciting. The problem is that most businesses just do not have the time to give that level of capacity. You can have the best idea in the world, and you just haven't got the time to put it together. That's the bit that I'm trying to fix.
Yeah, I do really like that. I think that's really smart. I'm curious about permits. Do you have to deal with permits a lot?
Yeah, we do actually. But a lot of the time, so basically, I've got this theory that if you want to do something and you ask permission, it's definitely going to cost you. You can get it, but it's always going to cost you money. So it depends on the client budget. If the client's not got budget, I'm like, okay, well, if the permit's going to cost, like, say, £5,000 for the day, right? What do you reckon the fine's going to be? The fine's probably going to be like £150, right? Or maybe £1,000. So we're probably going to save ourselves £4,000 by just getting the fine. Do you know what I mean? Or like just simple things like that. Like, if we need to park in a central location, but we can't because there's no parking spaces to do our activation, well, let's just get a parking ticket for 60 quid and we'll just pay it at half price for 30 quid. And then it's cost us 30 quid. But if we ask the council for that location, they're going to go, yeah, no worries, 500 quid for the day. Do you know what I mean? So this is where the true element of guerrilla marketing kind of steps in. It is gray area, a lot of it. You know, we do the crazy stuff, and we don't know if it's going to work. And like flying a drone, we let the police know, we let the council know, and we let the airport know. But still, someone complained about a drone flying over their house, and the tower at at Manchester Airport weren't told that we were going to fly, so they started investigating it, and so on and so forth. But we follow as many of the rules as we can, up to a certain point where, okay, well, now we've done everything we can possibly do. If something goes wrong, we'll just deal with it. And in that case, there's the drone pilot's name, here's his license, here's his registration, here's the route we traveled, here's all the rules that we followed, here's all the proof that we notified all these different people. We've done the very best that we can do. Now, if we've broken a rule or not, maybe we have, we'll just pay the fine. And I think for me, that's what I find exciting. You know, I think this is why I got into marketing. I think a lot of people get into marketing because they want to do this fun stuff. They want to do the exciting stuff. They really want to stand out as a business. A lot of business owners get into business because they want to fucking have fun. They love the products and service they offer, and they're so passionate about it, and they want to share it with the world. Then why the fuck are we doing it in such a boring way? Why do we think it's okay to just sit on a desk like this and talk in a microphone and think someone's going to give a shit? Like, they don't. So I've got to really showcase, and I've got to meet people wherever they are and get them to pay attention in a world that's full of noise and chaos. I've got to be more chaotic and noisy to get their attention for just a moment. If I can do that, we're successful. And it's also very exciting. Like I said, I never know what we're going to do. And we never pitch the same thing twice. Like, we never do. Go through my portfolio, every single project is different. And I love that. I love that. It's not a conveyor belt.
I definitely noticed you have that very unique and you're very, very out there. You mentioned I'm just sitting in front of a microphone. What are your opinions on podcasts then?
I use that. I thought you might mention something now. So yeah, I was using that as an example because we've got a client who everyone in their industry talks to the camera just like this with a microphone. So we just went, well, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it whilst climbing a tree, whilst doing a pie eating competition, whilst windsurfing, whilst on a fucking fairground on a roller coaster. So we do the same thing, but just in a different situation. All of a sudden it stands out, right? My thoughts are, it's another podcast. If I'm scrolling through LinkedIn and I see someone talking, why should I give a shit about you versus everyone else that's on there? And you've got to think about that when you do it. You've got to add something to it. You've got to make it a certain way. And Maybe it's the person speaking. Maybe it's the topic. Maybe it's how you speak. Maybe it's what happens. Maybe we do it completely naked, and then we just freak everyone out. But whatever it is, I'm going to be looking at it from a marketing point of view and going, how can it be different? Why should anyone? And this is the thing: we all live in a bubble, right? Where our world is small. We all believe that we're the most special, most important people in the world. We're not. And fucking everyone thinks that. If you don't believe me, go to a busy city centre, stand in the middle of the road and look around at how many of the people around you have all their own problems, all their own friend circles, friendship groups, work issues, and they believe that they're the most important person in the world. We're not. So why the fuck should everyone care about us? That's the bit, right? That's the hard bit. Why should I give a shit about you? And not you personally, I'm about just in general. Yeah. And answering that question is the tough bit. If you can answer that question and you can go, right, well, this is why people should care. How am I going to tell them this? How am I going to get this across? How am I going to make it unique? Does my podcast need to take place in a fucking underwater? Do I need to be like James Corden doing carpool karaoke in a car? And that's what went viral. Social stands out. It's different. Only you can answer that. So it's going to align with your personal values. Don't get me wrong. Some people will just watch podcasts for the sake of it. Some people will lean into getting guests with large followings and collaborating with them and hoping that brings views. But it does, but at the same time, it never really brings views to the podcast. It just brings views to that one guest, right? And if the podcast is really good and it's really insightful, but I mean, there's thousands of them now. So, yeah, the question to you is, why should anyone give a shit about this podcast? And I can't answer that for you. You it's your brand. You've got to figure it out. But the same principles apply to anyone. You're talking real estate businesses. Like, why should we care? Like, we know what we stand for. We know what we believe in. How am I going to tell the world that? Sometimes you're literally just going to have to tell them. Like, I literally say on my post, I want to be the guy you call to cause chaos. I want to be the guy you call when your marketing team are sat in a fucking room and you're all there scratching your balls going, don't know what to come up with. I want to be the guy you ring and go, get that fucking weirdo, get Lewis, sit him down and let him come up with weird ideas. And if you watch my videos on Instagram, you'll see at least 1 or 2 videos where I literally said what I just said to you now, because I keep repeating it, because that's what I want to be known for. Now, whether that's the right thing or the wrong thing, I don't know. All I can think of is I'm going to tell people and I'm going to show people. I'm going to show, not tell, but I am going to tell as well. So, yeah, I try and show that in all the content. I try and show that in everything I do. If you interact me in the street, I'll be the same weirdo as I am right now. I'm not going to try and put on a telephone voice or a facade. It's going to be me in every aspect, every touch point, every phone call, every email, and every written word on the website is from me. Because that's the only way I know how to do things. And that to me is marketing and aligning your brand. And everyone else should be doing the same thing.
I mean, fundamentally, it's story too, right? Like, think about it this way. Your brand is a story. It's a story of what people perceive your brand as. So like me personally, my story would be like, I went from this to this. Mm-hmm. And so that's the story. That's what people buy into. And so like, if you have a very Red Bull-esque story, like the guerrilla marketing style, you have a very fun, like playful kind of energy. That's the story. That's the emotion that people feel. And they get the story of like, these are all the stunts that they've done, and that's what they weave together to make it fun and playful. Whereas you can also get this authoritative feel if you say, like I said, I went from this to this. Mm. And so it all depends on what emotion you're trying to evoke, on how exactly you want to hook people in. Like, I think the podcast is really, really good at, so I could be like, yeah, 4 years ago, I was sleeping on a friend's couch. And then now I'm making, I don't even fucking know. I could look at my QuickBooks now. And that's the story that people buy into. They're like, oh, like this guy went from this to this. How do I do that? That'd be if I'm like selling marketing. So that'd be like 5% off, or selling, essentially doing an agency. But you can do similar things with different parts in the industry. So if you're a realtor, for example, you can say, I was 18 when I sold my first house, and it was with a family member, and you create this like very familial, like friendly kind of vibe with it, and you tell that story, and that's what people buy into. But now the problem is, how do you hook them into that story? And that's where you get into the more extravagant.
I think everyone's got a story. And like I said, we all know what we stand for. We all know why the world should care about us. The challenge is getting people to understand that. For me, I think probably half the people that I meet would dislike me straight away. But I don't try and fight that, because whether you like me or dislike me, hopefully you're going to hear about me. The ones that like me will reach out, will work with me. The brands that like us will reach out. And I think over time, a lot of the ones that don't like me, because I'm just saying this is what I believe and this is who I am. A lot of the ones that don't believe me, don't like me because they just don't believe or think like that. They're going to see the brands that we're working with, the level, the caliber of clients that we have, like they're massive now, and they're going to be like, well, he can't be a dickhead. Then he must have. There must be some truth to this. And then so we'll start winning people over that just dislike me on the face value. There will always be people who dislike you. I think the more you stand out, the more of a story you tell, the more resistance you will meet. You know, I can go into all the psychology behind this, but realistically, just know that if you're going to start telling your story, if you're going to start opening your door and trying to share your personal journey, if you're going to start trying to make people understand and listen and pay attention and give a shit about you online, digitally, and in real life, you are going to be met with a myriad of people who just will not like you, and there is no reason behind it. And that is fine, because every one or two, like one person that doesn't like you, there'll be 10 that really love you, you know, and they might not be as vocal about it, because actually, you know, most of the negativity is what you hear and what you see. But you will 1000% start to grow as a person, as a business. People will start to hear about you. The more you can be hated, actually, the you're probably going to be liked tenfold. And if you don't believe me, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't know, like people who are hated, like go on any single like popular person's Instagram, any single one. I couldn't give a shit who it is, and look at the comments. You will not really see a feed of positivity. You will always see negativity. You will always see horrible comments from nasty ass people who are just like, who probably have never achieved anything in life because they're so worried about being cut down and stuff like that. And they always say the nail that sticks out gets hammered, and that's the sort of idiom that we all live our lives by. But I don't know, man. I think if you're going to, if no one else is going to scream about what you do, no one else is going to shout about who you are, no one else is going to promote your journey, and everyone's going to have something to say about the person that's doing that. So you just got to get fucking comfortable being uncomfortable. It's just that simple. But yeah, do what I said. If you're not sure and you're like, oh, I don't know, man, put yourself out there and people should like you. Like, if you don't believe me, look at any single person. I'm not even saying and music, dance, acting, fucking, obviously not politics, because that is very polarizing, but anything. Look at their comments on their social medias, and you will see like hate comments upon hate comments upon hate comments, but that person will still be successful regardless.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Like, my YouTube is pretty small, all things considered, and I had one post that just pissed off some real estate agents. It was basically saying, don't sell the house, right? Sell yourself if you're a realtor, because the reality is people aren't going to come back if you sell them a good house. They're going to come back if you're a good realtor. And that, like, so much hate. It was unbelievable. Like, it had a good like to dislike ratio. Like, it had, I think, 90-something% likes to dislikes. But there was just enough where people were like, oh my god, this is terrible. So you have to be kind of like, that's always going to happen. I know you have a cutoff here in 10 minutes. So anything else you want to say? Anywhere you want to send people? LinkedIn, YouTube?
I don't know, man. Like, I will say this: I'm just one voice in the sea of marketing voices, and whether anyone that listens to this hears it or wants to or chooses to apply my philosophy to marketing, then that's amazing. If not, again, you need to find what works for you. But if anyone wants to reach out and ask me more questions or understand why I am the way I am, or what I talk about and why we do this type of marketing we do, you can always find me on crap, I keep dropping stuff. You can always find me on LinkedIn. I'm always around. I've always said, this is quite sad, but no matter if you message me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, even find my old Twitter that I don't really use. If you message me on any one of those platforms, I'll probably reply to you within an hour. Like, doesn't matter what it is, I will see it. So I'm very unhealthily attached to all these different platforms. If I'm not posting, I'm always there, watching, learning, trying to get better at what I do. So yeah, man, just hit me up on anything if you want to speak to me. But I would welcome anyone who is looking at ways to really stand out in the market, ways to really make an impact. Anyone that gets excited about business the way I do, anyone that gets excited about new and innovative ideas, like, I'm happy to just chat about shit because it gets me excited. And that's what I got into this space to. I got into marketing because I want to have fun, but I want to really make a difference. I want to grow businesses, and I want to build my own business off the back of our marketing knowledge. So yeah, man, that's how you hit me, and that's kind of what I'm interested in.
There we go. Yeah.